The Jeffrey Epstein story continues to captivate and disturb the world. Newly released files have revealed an unexpected detail. Epstein, a man surrounded by wealth, power, and secrecy, actually reached out to Noam Chomsky, the renowned linguist and social critic. Why would a financier and convicted sex offender turn to one of the world's greatest intellectuals? The answer appears to be tied to the media. Epstein was deeply concerned about the way he was portrayed in newspapers, magazines, and online platforms. He referred to the coverage as putrid, a word that suggests more than mere dissatisfaction. It implies corruption, decay, and a profound frustration with the narrative being presented to the public. Epstein's life was a constant battle between the elite circles he moved in and the relentless media scrutiny that followed him everywhere. Headlines painted him as a villain, a criminal, a manipulator. Each article, each story added to the public perception that he desperately wanted to control. By seeking advice from Chomsky, Epstein was reaching beyond the usual channels of influence. He turned to intellectual authority, hoping to find guidance in navigating a media storm that he felt was unfairly tarnishing his reputation. This unlikely intersection of crime, wealth, and intellectual discourse is where our story begins.
Throughout his life, Epstein was never just a figure in the news. He was the subject of relentless scrutiny. His description of media coverage as putrid reflects not only his anger, but also his acute awareness of power and narrative. For Epstein, the media was more than press. It was a force capable of shaping public perception, influencing elites, and altering the course of his life. Documents suggest Epstein actively tried to protect himself and those in his inner circle from unfavorable press. He used lawyers, advisors, and even private investigators to monitor and influence the flow of information. Yet even these measures were insufficient to quiet the storm of public attention. The files show Epstein reaching beyond typical defense strategies, seeking counsel from intellectual authority. By contacting Chomsky, he hoped to find ways to mitigate or counteract the influence of the media. This approach highlights Epstein's obsession with control. It was not simply about hiding wrongdoing, it was about shaping the story that the world would tell about him. In Epstein's mind, the media was both a weapon and a threat, one that needed to be carefully managed. The revelation that Epstein reached out to Noam Chomsky is remarkable, not only for its audacity, but for what it reveals about Epstein's mindset. Epstein reportedly sought advice on how to manage media narratives, aiming to protect himself from damaging exposure. This unusual approach underscores the unexpected intersection of crime, influence, and intellectual engagement. While it remains unclear whether Chomsky responded, the act itself speaks volumes. Epstein, a man at the center of a global scandal, recognized the power of ideas and the influence of intellect. He reached across social and professional boundaries in an attempt to control his image. Epstein's letter or message to Chomsky, the content of which is still not fully public, highlights a mind constantly strategizing, calculating, and maneuvering. In his world, even media coverage was a battlefield, and intellectual guidance was another tool in the arsenal. This strange and unexpected link between a criminal mastermind and a world-renowned thinker forces us to question, how far can one go in the pursuit of narrative control? Epstein's story is no longer just about crime or punishment. It is about power, influence, and the lengths to which some will go to shape the truth. The Epstein Chomsky episode reminds us that Jeffrey Epstein was more than just a criminal figure. He was a man obsessed with influence, control, and public perception. The media, in his view, posed one of the greatest threats to his carefully constructed world. Yet despite letters, advice sought, and a lifetime of strategic maneuvering, the ultimate answers remain elusive. Why did Epstein turn specifically to Chomsky? Did he receive meaningful guidance? And can media coverage ever truly be controlled by those it portrays? The files and documents raise more questions than answers. They reveal a world in which power, secrecy, and intellectual authority collide, a world where manipulation is constant and truth is always in flux. Epstein's story, including his unexpected approach to Chomsky, continues to fascinate, disturb, and mystify us. It is a cautionary tale about the interplay between wealth, influence, and knowledge, a reminder that even the most powerful are subject to the forces of public scrutiny. As we reflect on this strange intersection of crime, intellect, and media, one question remains: how much control can anyone truly have over the story the world tells? For Epstein, the story was far from over, and neither is the intrigue it has left behind.